Okay, so today I'm going to show you what flintknapping is. I kind of just wanted to try out this new stone. It's called Georgetown Chert, or Georgetown Flint, from Texas, and I just wanted to see how it worked and what it broke like, or what it chipped like. So I just threw on the costume and decided, it was mostly because I was sweaty. I just wanted to cover that up, and I put it on because I wanted to, in case I wanted to use this for content. But I figured, since I ended up making something decent out of the end of this, I'd use it as a teachable video. So I have the side video here where you can see me like in full view, and then I have one zoomed up here where you can see a more close-up view. I will make a better video of this with multiple camera angles because I would love to, because flintknapping is so fascinating. But for now, we'll start with the basics. Currently, I am using a moose antler billet to reduce this piece of chert down. And when you're on the... Okay, here, take a look. So I'm showing you there's waves in it. You can see these cracks and fissures, and ridges, what they're called. So chert and flint is essentially just compressed and compressed and compressed sediment that it was under the seafloor for millennia, and by millennia I mean millions and billions of years. And the silica in it, so like dead animals, plankton, little tiny, one-celled, two-celled organisms that are down in there, compress down and make it like brittle. And that's why you can break certain stone like this. You can't just take a big chunk of basalt and break it with a moose antler. It would probably break your arm to do that. But the gist is how your car windshield breaks, right? Just like glass. It shatters in different directions, and you can see the waves of force that travel through it, or the joules or whatever, or the... I'm not sure what the scientific word is, but the energy, the units of energy that travel through it. So what you're doing is finding... imperfections and perfections in the stone and ridges that are formed, like wrinkles in it, and you're trying to take your tool and direct the energy down through that to break it off. So around the edges here, I'm trying to find big points of entry, like right there. You can see it snapped right off. Pretty sweet. And so I'm looking now for different points of entry around the stone, and that stuff on the outside is called the cortex, which essentially we could just call the skin of the rock. It's like the really weathered part on the outside, and you'll occasionally see me take a look and see where I'm going to go, and that's because flintknapping is just a giant 3D puzzle in reverse, and I have to kind of study it to see where I need to go. So I'm really just trying to go around in a circle right now and reduce this thing down as thin as possible without taking off any width or length. And you can see those like waves and ridges around the side there. I'm trying to get access to those, and to do that you have to set up what's called platforms. So I'm right now kind of chunking off little things in there that are in the way. You could see a big gross thing probably close to my thumb there, in between my thumb and the antler billet. That's a bunch of like step fractures. That's gross. I want to get rid of that so I can have a big sturdy platform. And look at that, I had something that already came off. Big sturdy platform to hit, so that way nothing else kind of chips. I chip exactly what I want to chip off. And I'm gonna pop in here, take some more smaller flakes off so I can get into a big one right about here. Let's see, there you go, big flake. And just reducing. So you want to flip so you don't have a one-sided big chunk of rock. If you keep flipping it, you'll thin it a lot better. That's something that took me a while to learn. And here we go. So I'm going to take this last bit of cortex off. I'm going to shear it in and try to get access to it. And here, it's on the bottom side. Let's pop that right off. Boom, and it's gone. So next one, hopefully, there we go. So that one I kind of crushed the platform. So now I need to chip away at it a little bit on the other side to make the platform raise up so that I can strike it better. And while I'm, I guess I just went ahead and did the whole side while I was there. And let's see, pop it right off. There you go. Cool. And it's just such a satisfying sound when you get that like snap that comes off. There you go. So pick it up, study it. Where can I attack next? And I've had different teachers tell me, like, attack where you think is the best place to strike first. And then I've had, that was my friend Evan, and then Donnie Dust also taught me, like, go around in a circle, don't jump around. And in certain instances, I use both of their advice, and in this case, I'm kind of using a hybrid, but mostly Donnie's advice to just go around in this circle, because I like Donnie's style of flint knapping. It's just very practical Paleolithic flint knapping. I'm not good in any way at doing like ornate, cool Native American or Solutrean or like upper Paleolithic, Mesolithic fine art stone tool knapping, right? I just want something functional, and that's what I'm doing here. So currently I'm chipping away. You should do this with a hammerstone or an abrader, like a rock that's really like rugged, to just like really rough that edge up. But you can do it if you have a big piece like this with a billet just fine. And I'm coming in trying to hit that. Cool. Flip it over. You can see that there's a kind of mass by my hand here, and I'm trying to get into that as well. So let's see if I can pop that off. And 1, 2, bam. Got it. Cool. Sweet. So I'm just going down the side, trying to thin it. And at the same time, I'm trying to make the shape that I want. So I want like a large, Achillean hand axe size thing is kind of what I'm going for at this point. My neighbors just came out of the garage and looked at me very strangely because I'm wearing this hide. And so I decided to look further like an animal by putting the billet in my mouth. This is called abrading, and that was using a modern abrader. But abrading, essentially, like you're sanding the side of the rock down. So when you have really, really thin parts of the rock, if you hit it with that big billet, you're just going to crush it. But if I sand it down and make it very sturdy and durable, then I can take a big, huge hit with the antler because it has something to hit. It doesn't just crush on impact. And it's just so fascinating. It's all like physics and energy, and like you're directing wavelengths into the rock, and you're stopping those wavelengths with your hand or your leg. People in the Paleolithic probably didn't understand physics the way we do, but they definitely felt it. Like they probably thought it was some kind of magic, or like here's just how like antler force goes into the rock. Like I mean, they probably just explained it as practically as I could, without using big physics words. So, or maybe there was like rock spirits or rock gods, something. Who knows? That's just the way I kind of think about things. But I look at it like in a physics sense. But really, it's kind of just like riding a bike, right? You don't think about the physics of pedaling your bike as you pedal it. You don't think about how like the chain is working to move the wheels. You just know what it feels like, and that's what flint knapping is. And it took me a real long time to get to that, like, oh, here's what it should feel like. And again, I just checked it, and I'm trying to thin down those parts that are kind of brittle and not good to hit, to find better entry points. So here's probably a solid one. There we go. See, exactly. And you can just pull it off with your hand, and that sound is just so satisfying. Again, just keeping to do that. And I'm sorry I'm talking so much over this. I'll put the unedited or the unaudio version on or the unvoiced over version on the other channel, Ancient ASMR. You can find that in my like little about thing on my YouTube. I don't know how YouTube works, guys. So there's a crummy looking spot right there. You see that right by my antler in between my thumb? I need to get rid of that. And the best way to do that is to come from the other side, but I just decided to blow through it because I still had some girth with the rock to like mess with. So let's see. Yeah, and I'm kind of at the top there losing the shape that I want, so I'm going to have to sacrifice that. If I want it to look symmetrical, I got to come in a little bit more and make it smaller in width. Now I'm switching to a copper billet, which is really meant to replicate a hammerstone. It just has a handle, and copper is a little more soft than the rock, but it's not as soft as the billet, and it gives it a specific kind of hit. But with a copper billet like this, I can be extremely accurate, and I can hit it with the perfect amount of force. And right now I'm kind of holding it like I would a hammerstone, which is kind of ideal. And then you can kind of see on the edge there how it looks zigzagged, like jagged. That's exactly what you want, because every time I flip it, then I have another platform to hit to strike the rock off. And I usually hit it on my leg when I need a big one, but sometimes to get really accurate, I need to hold it out further in front of me to do that, and that's what I'm doing. Here we go, just chipping away again to get closer into big points of the rock to hit. I really love the way this rock looks. It's just like what stone tools like cartoonishly should look like, that color. Abrading again, Trying to get that crumminess away on the side, and probably, yep, thinking about it right now. Exactly like I'm thinking about. I'm going to hit right there, and bam. Oh, see? Kind of crushed. Need to have a better platform. This one should knock off. There you go. See, that's a big one that came off. So it's weird. I can like see it, think about it as I'm looking at it. And I have the same thought process while I'm doing it. But the reason I put both the side by side is obviously so you can see a good angle on both sides of what I'm doing, or a better view. But when I do this, where it focuses in on my face, I want you guys to notice like how intensely I'm thinking. Like I have to really come at it strategically, and I'm like, well, if I hit here, then I can come in there later. I have to get to this spot. So how would I do that? I must hit here, here, here. To me though, like that takes so much thought, and like you really have to think with this stuff. And like I'm kind of tangenting here, but my point that I want to get to is that Flintknapping is extremely challenging, and we like to think of like, you know, or not we like to, but the general public kind of thinks of ancient people as like not as advanced because they didn't have Google or, you know, Kraft mac and cheese. But they like, you had to think really hard to do this. It's a human thing to make stone tools, and what I'm making here is about the level of what Homo erectus could do. So I want you to think about that. And the way you can't just show somebody how to flint-knap, like at least maybe you can without any words, but I personally think you have to have language to teach flint-knapping. So Homo erectus for sure had language, maybe not Australopiths, maybe not Homo habilis. I think Homo had some kind of language in general, because there's no way to explain the intricacies of making the stone tools that they did, at least Homo erectus level, without using language. But I could be wrong. Lots of theories on that. That's just my personal. Again, looking at it, I kind of chunked the rock up in a way that's not ideal. You know, it's not the same shape that I wanted, and right there I just took off a big chunk that I did not mean to, and I'm probably upset about it. So now I'm hitting it because I'm like, damn it. But here you go. Now I can make it a little more symmetrical. I can come in, boom, and I'm trying to get that Achillean hand axe shape. Achillean hand axes are what Homo erectus made, like literally all over the old world. They're everywhere, and they're really good at making them. And they're just a full, every side of it is a blade you can cut something with, and you can use the end to like penetrate, like and chop, or you can tie it to a rock, or to a stick, I'm sorry, and use it as like an axe. I don't know if they were doing that with composite tools or not. I don't think they did. That was more of a Homo sapien thing. Here you go. So taking a look at it, now switching back to my antler, because I want to take off a good thing. General shape, you can see the jaggedness on the side, and I want to fix that. Yeah, so there I'm kind of abrading with the antler. Not ideal. See, I kind of just took off a big flake that I didn't mean to. Sometimes I forget that the antler isn't as jagged as a rock is, and you're kind of just more abrading the antler than the rock. But, you know, it's just, you can see it's a force of habit thing. And again, really looking concerned as to how I'm going to go about this. And I'm like, okay, let me take my copper billet, because I really need to hit this one strategically and accurately. There you go, and just taking off sweeping flakes off the side, because I set it up, it's jagged enough, and this thing can take off some decent flakes. And at the end there, where it's kind of thin, I don't want to use my big antler billet, because I'll just break the whole end off. Yeah, there you go. And getting close to finished, you can see the jaggedness, and now I'm kind of just wondering how to make it look cosmetically cool, aesthetically. At this point, it's a fully functional hand axe. The end, you want to be very careful, because you're putting a lot of force into that rock, and it has to go somewhere. So I have to press it up against my hand and against my leg to make sure that shock is absorbed by both my hand and my leg. If you just kind of take the billet and hit the rock out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to break it right in half, which is what I do constantly, because I just get too rushed. The soft antler billet can take off smaller flakes and like longer flakes than the little other thing can. And that's just kind of what I'm doing to shape it, and make sure it's still thinning. You can See, it's still kind of thick on one side, so I'm like, all right, let's take this down, let's shape it up. Exactly. Wow, it's just so cool I can watch this again and know what know what I'm doing. Looking at the camera to make sure it's still recording, I think. Yeah, so now you kind of have this like, it's got a lenticular shape to it for sure, but then also like it's got that teardrop kind of hand axe shape that you're looking for. And I'm just, again, thinning it. I'm repeating myself over and over here. But yeah, just that sound is so nice. Cool. And again, holding it out in the ether, getting very dangerous right there, holding it, hitting it at the end. So there, and I put it back on my leg to reinforce that because I was thinking it through. Chopping, just kind of thinning, and I think I'm about done here. Let's see. Just getting to that general shape that I want. And I was really excited at this point because I've never made a hand axe this big without breaking it just straight in half. Because again, guys, I'm not great. Don't take anything I say at face value. Do your own research on this, but for the general aspect of maybe you have no idea what flint knapping is or how to do it, I'm probably look like an expert to you. And like, that's kind of dangerous. But you know, like flint knapping is flint knapping. And Donnie Dust told me something that was like super impactful to me. He told me this like 2 years ago when I first interviewed him. If you can make a tool, like a basic flake, that's all you need. Because you just need something that can cut, and you need to know the general aspect of like, here's how I take one rock and bash it against another rock to make it a usable tool. And from there, you can just go wild with your creativity, making a different one that functions for different things. Like he has a specific knife he uses to cut bison hide that we just discovered the other day. Or that I just learned the other day from him, but I think he had told me that a while ago. And other people use very lancelet looking straight, what you would think of as a spearhead shape to cut into an animal when you shoot it. And yeah, I'm about done now. So hand axe, there you go. You just watched me flint knap, and now I'm gonna stab it because I'm impulsive. Bam, that's my old cave wall in the garage. And it can chop, it can stab, and it can slice. So that's what I'm trying to show you. There you go. That's a Georgetown shirt, Chilean hand axe.